facilitator is and also my co-facilitator as well. All right. So this is Tenalytics. Okay, let me put it on a full screen mode so we can all see. So in Tenalytics, we are a leading edtech educational technology company, and we focus on providing specialized training in technologies, skills, and delivering comprehensive data consulting services. So that's who we are. And with over 5 years of experience building the talent for the technology workspace, we have helped over 3,400 plus people transition from the classroom into their first job in tech across the United Kingdom, United States of America, Canada, Europe, Africa, and even Asia. And we are committed to making the technology sector more accessible through premium experiential training in data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics, agile product management, cybersecurity, DevOps engineering, and product design product design. So other thing we do that we have our team of instructors from leading global companies, from Apple, from Microsoft, from McKinsey, from Amazon, etc. And they bring lots of real world experience, and that's one of the things you get to have here in Analytics, real world experience. So we bring real world experience that are dedicated to delivering and engaging also practical learning experience that ensures you receive the maximum value for your investment for your future. All right. So now you have to meet me. I am Joshua, and I'm a senior data analyst associate with over 5 years experience in data analytics and data science. So I have proficiency in tools like SQL, Microsoft Excel, Python, Power BI, Tableau, and machine learning frameworks. Then I leverage on data to drive strategic decision making in edutech and also public sector fields. Then, as a lead business analyst and a coach at Analytics, I've successfully mentored and trained over 500 aspiring tech professionals across the UK, the United States of America, Canada, Nigeria, and even beyond, and demonstrating a profound commitment to empowering the next generation of data experts. So, this is what I love doing. All right. So, my co-facilitator, who is going to be joining us also on this call, her name is called Priscilla. So, this is Priscilla Fanama. She's a passionate educator, data expert, and career strategist with close to half a decade year of experience in blockchain technology and data analytics. Wow. So she's a data associate at Analytics, and she has been instrumental in helping individuals navigate the complex tech landscape, guiding them in coaching the right career path, onboarding them into data-driven path, and providing the support they need to land their first jobs. So expertise spans across freelance data analyst, crypto educator, technical support personnel, tech career coach, and she has a strong commitment to career transformation. And Priscilla has also successfully onboarded and mentored over 500 individuals, helping them to transition seamlessly into tech and secure meaningful job opportunities. All right. So this is who my other facilitator is. So what are we doing today? What are we here for? Yes, there's a reason why you all joined this call. So what are we here for? First off, we want to see how we can leverage ChatGPT as a business analyst, as a data analyst, and also as a data scientist. And I'm going to be taking you through that route. I'm going to show you how you can work with all of these to make informed decisions, to get your work done faster, and to even save time and to have great and beautiful insight and analysis. The second thing that we're going to be doing here today is that the strategy to breaking in and securing a job. Do you understand the strategy to breaking in and securing a job? As understanding the technical and employability skills required. And lastly, we're going to be talking about something interesting, something called special discount. So we're going to talk about success stories. You have a lot of success stories. Then upcoming cohorts that's going to be starting on the 7th of March. And these are what we want to be doing in today's section. So let's jump right into it and let's start with the first one. Now, before we even go into leveraging AI, getting to see what ChatGPT can do, we still need to understand what ChatGPT is. Yes, I want to believe that, but I don't want to assume. But I want to believe that large number of us on this call have already heard about ChatGPT, Gemini, Cloudy, a lot of AI tool out there that is being used to maximize and to make your workflow easier. So we're going to be leveraging on ChatGPT, and I'm going to do a little bit around that. I'm going to work around that. So it's an advanced AI language model, and it's developed by OpenAI that can understand and generate human-like text and code. And we aren't just analyzing data anymore. We're going to be using this generative AI to create new solutions, write code, and draft strategies within seconds. Before now, this particular this thing I just said now takes days, takes hours to achieve. But with the advent of ChatGPT, generative AI, and the likes, all of these things can be done in a space of 5, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, depending on what you're running. Now, so think of ChatGPT not as a search engine. Do you understand? Not as a search engine, but as a senior consultant, as a coder who is ready to work for you 24/7. Do you know how it feels to have a personal assistant, someone that understands the flow, someone that can just call on and get the work done for you? That's the same thing ChatGPT is, and it has been built to you can do a lot of role play. It can play the role of a senior data analyst, can play the role of a senior business analyst, can play the role of a lead data scientist, and get a job done for you. Do you understand? And that's how ChatGPT works. So now, why ChatGPT for data professionals? Why ChatGPT? Why are we leveraging on ChatGPT? Are we saying that we shouldn't learn the tactics anymore? Are we saying that we should understand what all these things? No, that's not what you're talking about. Let's see what ChatGPT, why ChatGPT? Because for everything, there's a reason. One, for instant code generation. So you don't need to memorize Python codes. You don't need to memorize Excel formulas. You don't need to memorize DAX functions. You don't need to memorize SQL codes. Just tell ChatGPT what you want in plain English, and it writes the syntax for you. It writes syntax for you. That's one of the benefit of ChatGPT. It's as good as ChatGPT is, we still need to understand the rudiment of all of these tools, all of these things you're actually talking about, the tools you're going to be using, the skills, because the understanding that will help you to navigate your way around ChatGPT is the understanding of the tools, understanding of the skills, understanding of the tech tools that will help you to understand how to even prompt your ChatGPT or your AI tool to even give you what you're looking for. And after even giving you what you're looking for, you need to even check, does this really fit into the solution I want to get? So there's a need for you to still understand how data analytics works. There's a need for you to still understand how business analysis works. There's a need for you to still understand how data science works. But understanding this thing and adding ChatGPT to it or artificial intelligence to it make you a superstar, make you get a job done within what? Within a split of seconds, split of time, minutes, and just be seen at your workspace like, wow, this person is really what is on fire. Okay, so another thing is that is the second brain. Is the second brain. Now, you may be thinking about something and trying to brainstorm around something, you alone, probably maybe you're walking around 12 a.m. Most of your friends, your tech guys would have gone to bed or sleeping or they're actually busy because it's already late at night. But you need a second brain. You need somebody that you can just oppose with, somebody you can have a brainstorming section with. You can really easily reach out to ChatGPT. It helps you to brainstorm business question, create hypotheses that you might have even missed. That's one beautiful thing about it. There are some silent things that you would have actually missed, but with artificial intelligence, with AI, it will trigger you to bring it out. That is, it reads between lines. Do you understand? So that is why it is one of the reasons why data professional has to understand how ChatGPT works. Then another thing is democratization of skills. That's another beautiful thing about the reason why data professional makes use of ChatGPT. So it levels the playing field. That is, a business analyst can now write SQL. Do you get? A data scientist can create hypotheses. or can even give us recommendation, can even create problem statement. So that's how it works. So democratization of skills. And lastly, we have debugging assistance. If you're familiar with code, or probably you've heard about coding or something around that before now, you'd have heard about the fact that people writing code then, years back, people writing code, and just a line of code or just something small can actually make the entire code give an error. But debugging process is now another time that will now be used to start checking out for the error in that code. And that debugging process, that local way of debugging, can actually take large chunks of your time, can take a lot of your time. Sometimes you can spend the entire days debugging. I actually laugh because I've been a victim of this before. So, but with artificial intelligence, with ChatGPT, it can easily help you to detect that error in that code and fix it for you. The error can be as simple as you not putting the right syntax, or you not putting a comma. I'm a living example of that. I've experienced that before. Do you understand? Because just one line of code was wrong, the entire code came out as error. I'm going to be showing something like that in today's class. Do you understand? So, but with the help of ChatGPT, it can help you to debug your code within minutes and fix it instantly. So, there's this complaint, a telecommunication complaint. Now we are moving into the case study right now. This telecommunication complaint, they have data team, but we call them AI data team. I love that word, AI data team. That is the leverage on artificial intelligence. But despite the fact that they leverage on artificial intelligence, they already understand the rudiments of each of the tech tracks. The business analyst already understand what the entire process of business analysis. The data analyst already understand the entire process of data analysis. Data scientists already understand all the process that has to do with data science. So, but then how can we make our work faster? How can we get this team seamlessly? How can we give results? How can we give answers to problems? How can we make predictions without spending the entire weeks on it? Then they start leveraging artificial intelligence. So that's why we call them the AI data team. So in that data team, we have the business analyst, data analyst, and data scientist. And you can see right now they are what? They are still just opposing, maybe currently working on and working their project, or just trying to extract some things from new things that are actually coming up in technology. But suddenly, the CEO requested for something, and it's like, wow. So there's actually a problem the company is facing. So the CEO just walked in and called them for a roundtable meeting and told them that we need to discuss about something. There's a problem that I'm seeing. There's a problem we are facing in this company. And I want you guys to what? To work hand in hand. I want you guys to work collaboratively. The business analyst, do your part. The data analyst, do your part. The data scientist, do your part. And let's get this problem solved. So what's the problem? What are they facing? Now, he said, good morning, guys. I've called this meeting because we have a discrepancy. That means something is not really right. Our product is better than even the competitors or competitions. Yet, the retention rate has dropped by 50% in just 30 days. That's a very serious problem. In just 30 days, the retention rate has dropped. That means they are losing customers. That means there's been some kind of churn within the customer's database. And one beautiful thing about this company is that because they already work with data teams, they have gold mines of data. They have data on call logs, they have data on payment history, they have data on usage patterns. But right now, everything is just like a noise. Everything is just like we just have this lot of data, unstructured, structured, not clean data. Everything is just there. But we need to work as a team to make the noise into, or to turn the noise into a strategy. So they need to work as a team to turn the noise into a strategy. So the business analyst needs to ask the right question. The data analyst needs to find patterns. The data scientist needs to predict the future. So, and the board wants answer by the end of the hour. So look at something. They want answer by the end of the hour. That means before the end of that day, we want to know what's going on. And they were like, do not disappoint. Do not disappoint them. The board wants to know what's going on. So do not disappoint them. So they're all like, okay, business analyst guys, okay, let's jump on this project. Data analyst guys also, they're already on the project. Data scientists too, they're already on the project. And see what the business analysts will be doing. So the goal of the business, the goal now for the business analysts, that is their contribution. One is to define the problem and ask the right question. Define the problem and ask the right question. Because if the right questions are being asked, then it will help the data analyst check and even the data scientists to what? To check for those questions and see if those hypotheses are right. Then the old ways, they would have spent like 2 days brainstorming within the team on how this thing works. But with ChatGPT, it will help them to generate all this investigation strategy in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes. Then I already add to this slide who a business analyst is, in case you are just hearing what a business analyst is. So let me just run through this and just give a little bit of explanation before we go into the practical part. So a business analyst or a BA is a professional who helps an organization to understand its business need. So the organization actually has a need. Right now, this company they has a need. There's something they want to get. There's a churn rate and it's increasing. 50% churn rate within what? 30 days. That's quite alarming. That's scary. So now what the business analysts now do is that they will help the organization to understand the business need, identify the problem, and find solution. Then usually improving processes, system, or strategies. Then the other thing is that part of their job is to make sure that the business wants that what the business wants is clearly understood and built correctly within the technical team. So they will also work with the technical team and make sure that what the business is saying or what the business wants, everybody understand the problem. Everybody understand what they want to do. Everybody understand that, okay, this is the part, this is what you want to build, and you have to work in alignment with that. So there's a need for us to be aligned. There's a need for the team to be aligned. So now that's who a business analyst is. So the way we're going to be doing this, we're going to be taking it one step at a time. We're going to first of all do the practical part of the business analysis. Then we now do the practical part of the data analyst and also the practical part of the data scientist. And you see how they're going to work collaboratively in a cross-functional department to achieve the goal. Now, let's now go into it. For the business analyst now, we have a prompt. Now, the prompt is this. What you're going to be telling ChatGPT is this. I'm going to be telling ChatGPT to act as a senior business analyst for a telecom company. Are you seeing that prompt now? Prompt is what you ask your ChatGPT to, what you ask, the task you want to give to your tool, to your AI tool. So we are using ChatGPT at the moment. So the reason I'm actually writing this prompt is that I want you to understand how we prompt our chatbot, how we make use of prompts to get the desired result. Because someone can just go on to ChatGPT and just say, give me a problem statement, give me 3 specific hypotheses, and the data dictionary for this particular data this thing. It can be so confusing. Or it's even if it's not confusing, ChatGPT will just be generic with its output. We just don't want the garbage in, garbage out something. We don't want the generic answer. We want an answer that actually deals directly to what we are working on. So we don't want the generic response. So that's why we are going to be tailoring our prompts in accordance to what we are working with. So I'm going to be telling ChatGPT to work as a senior business analyst for a telecom company and based on the CEO's report. So that means I'm going to also copy the CEO's reports right now, because the CEO is one that actually came to us and tell us what the problem is, what he actually noticed, or which we also have been noticing it. But according to the CEO speech, we are going to be getting that report with this particular prompt to get the hypothesis, the specific hypothesis, to define the data dictionary, and also to draft a well-structured problem statement that we can send back to the CEO to confirm our scope. So this is what we're going to be doing right now. I'm going to just a straight away stuff. I'll just come here. I'll copy this prompt because I intentionally put this there so that whenever we're going to be doing it. So I'm going to show you how the prompt looks like, and it's really take our time. So before doing that, I'll first of all go ahead to launch my chat GPT. If you are still with me, I would like you to give me a thumbs up. If you are still with me, give me a thumbs up. If you are still together, I want to be certain that I'm not the only one in class, that you guys we are still together. So if you are together, give me a thumbs up. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. What about others? Okay, all right, I'm seeing your thumbs up. Great job, guys. So, okay, great one. So now, you just don't want to go to ChatGPT and just type something else. No, we want to be constructive. We want to structure our prompt in accordance to what we need. So I'm going to go straight off. I'm going to go back to what the CEO request was. I'm going to copy this guy, and I'm also going to copy the prompt right here. Then if you remember that I said I need the exact data dictionary needed to prove this, like to prove the entire thing I want to work on. So I'm going to be feeding it with the data dictionary. Now, another thing that I want to always take note of is that while working with ChatGPT, ChatGPT has the ability you have the ability to train your ChatGPT, and it's very, very important you just don't put in data, your company's data, everything to ChatGPT. It's against the law of governance when it comes to data. So this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to copy the column headers. Do you understand? The column headers, I'm going to show you what column headers are. I only copy the column headers, then give you this prompt and get my result. I won't upload the company's data to ChatGPT. No, I won't do that. I'll just copy the column headers so that we see what the data looks like, but you won't have access to the data point. So now we'll now go to ChatGPT and go and open up our ChatGPT. So I'm coming. So let's open up ChatGPT. So it's coming up. Okay. So if you can see my screen, I would like you to give me a thumbs up again. If you can see my screen, please give me a thumbs up. Fantastic. All right. So I've been able to open ChatGPT. Okay. So these are my previous work right, while working on it. So now look at how I'm going to prompt it. I'll just go to, because I already have it documented, I'll just go to this place and tell it, okay, this is the prompt I want. So act as a senior business analyst for this company. I want to list three specific hypotheses for the sudden drop, the band data dictionary, and also a problem statement. I'll copy it. I'll just go straight to ChatGPT to paste it, or paste it right on in ChatGPT. So now I've pasted the first prompt. Now there's other thing that I want to add to this so that the information will be full, so that it won't just be generic. Because if I just go straight down, just load this thing, the response will be generic. It won't really dive into the kind of problem we want to solve. So I'll now go ahead and go and copy the CEO's speech. So let's go back to the slide and let's go and copy the CEO speech. So or the CEO's request. So this is CEO's request. So I'll just write it here. Start copying it right here. Control C. Then I'll go back to ChatGPT. I'm going to paste it there. So, but before I go back to that ChatGPT, before I paste it, I'm going to say something so that it will understand. I just say below is the CEO's report. So I'll just copy it, Control V. So now can you see that I've given it the prompt? The first prompt was what? The first prompt was the the real prompt that we need to generate the hypothesis, the problem statement, and also um the data dictionary that I want to use. Now, after that, and I gave it what? I gave it the the CEO's report. Another thing is that I said I can't just upload the entire data set. I'm going to show you how you are going to get the data set as well. I'm going to show you, it's already on this slide. So I just don't want to upload the entire data set. So I'll just say also, okay, I'll just say here is the data headers for the data set. So I'll just go straight to data set. I already have it opened. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to go about it. So just come here, I'll copy it. That's the data header. Can you see the column header? So I'm not copying this column G because I'm going to show you how to create this column G. It's part of what we're going to be creating when we go to the data analytics part. So I've been able to copy from column A, that's customer ID, contract type, monthly charges, total charges, tenure months, and churn. I've copied those. I'll just go straight back to ChatGPT and go and paste it. So that's the column. Those are the column headers. Those are the column headers. So I've been able to paste the what? The prompt itself, and I've added things that will make it what? That will make it look structured, not just a generic answer. So I added the serious report, and I also added the what? I also added the column headers or let's say data headers. So let me now run it. So I just click on this to run the entire what? The entire prompt. So look at how the prompts, how it looks like. It looks long, but this is so detailed. This is so detailed. Not just write me a problem statement for this program. Not just that. We need to just what to make it. We need to structure it towards what we want to do. So let's see what we have. Let's see what we have. So now he has been able to give us three specific hypotheses or testable hypotheses for the 5% retention drop. So the first hypothesis is what? Price sensitivity slash billing shock. So does it mean that customers with higher monthly charges are disproportionately churning, or particular those with low tenure? So this logic is just around like saying that even if the product is superior, customer may not perceive enough incremental value to justify higher pricing. So a recent pricing adjustment or expired promotion or bill shock could be driving could be the driving could be driving exits. So now it's still an hypothesis. It has not been tested yet. At the minute has been tested, you can call it tentative answer. So it's like you're just checking. Could it be because of the increment in price or billing shock that actually make us to have a drop in customer, or that actually make us to have that 50% retention drop? So what would confirm this? Now, to confirm this, we need to get the churn rates. We're going to be doing this soon. So we need a strong positive correlation between monthly charges and churn, and also high churn among customers with monthly charges and low tenure month. So that's the first hypothesis. So could it be? So the first hypothesis is saying that it can actually be due to billing shock or increment in bills or the amount being spent. Now, another hypothesis is saying contract flexibility, increasing switching behaviors. So contract flexibility, increasing switching behaviors. So what is it talking about? So it's saying that maybe customers on month-to-month contracts are churning at materially higher rates than those on 1 or 2 years contract. So this is just hypothesis. This is just hypothesis. This is just hypothesis. And what I want to know is that I didn't even fit this data, this ChatGPT, the entire data set. I just gave it the column header. And I was able to get all of these hypotheses, which is looking more real towards what we want to get. Another thing is that early life cycle attrition, that is onboarding failure. So it could be that customers that are within three, it's still an hypothesis as well. This is third hypothesis now. They're saying that customers that are within the first 3 to 6 months might probably have the they might probably churn, or they might probably leave the company because they've not really glue, or they've not really the company have not really won their heart. So there's high probability for people that subscribe, or people that go for a month to month subscription type, or a contract type, or 2, 3, 6 month contract type. Because from what they are saying now, this data set now, if you look at it very well, we are still going to do the analysis, and we see that those from 1 to 2 years contract type, they still have higher retention rates. But those with month-to-month contract type, they are the one that have low dropping, they're the one that have higher churn rates. Now, so we want to check. So you want to check for the expectation gap on the onboarding friction or service experience issues early in life cycle. So these are what you want to check. So what we need to confirm here is that the median tenure of churn customer significantly lower than the retained customer. We also want to check for churn curve heavily skewed towards the tenure if it's less than 12 months. Now, that's the first one. We actually asked for 3 hypotheses. He has been able to give us 3 hypotheses. And now the next thing is that the data tabs or data headers or column headers that we need to focus on has given us the field. If you need to focus on the customer ID field, contract type, monthly charges, total charges, tenure month, and also churn. So, and you have all the data tabs here and everything, how it works. And the required field now is that, okay, you're going to be working on the tenure bucket. So, you're going to be doing something around to check for those who are between 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months or 1 year. So this will help us to identify the early churn concentration. Then also, I'm going to be working around the ARPU band, that is the monthly charges segmented. You have the low, the medium, and the high. So we are going to be writing a function to get this. And also, we're going to be doing another thing around the contract risk flag. So I'm going to be creating a risk column. I'm going to be creating the risk column. Then also, we are also going to work around the customer LTV proxy, that is the total charges. So that's the second field. That's the second thing you want to work on. So that's the job of a business analyst. You can see that the business analyst is not really going into writing any codes yet or doing anything in Excel. So just getting information, documenting process, doing some kind of user stories, conducting what's it called, stakeholders analysis and every other thing like that. Then also, we now ask for a well-structured problem statement so that the CEO will confirm from his end that this is exactly what we are working with. Because if there is no problem statement or we don't have a singular problem statement that really speaks to the problem, we might actually be solving a problem that is not the real problem. So the point is, what I'm saying is that if the problem is A, but our problem statement is going towards problem B, we'll be solving problem B, which is not the main problem that we need to dedicate our time on to, instead of working on problem A. So the business analyst will now be the one to create a well-structured problem statement so that CEO will confirm and see if this is exactly what we are working on. And look at it here. Has been able to create a what? A problem statement talking about the incident over the past 30 days, how customer retention has declined to 15% despite no deterioration in product quality. So the objective, it has been able to tell us what it says and every other thing. So one of the things I used to do is that, okay, for this kind of scenarios like this, if I want it in a paragraphic format, maybe one paragraph or in few statements, I can just copy this entire problem statement and still tell ChatGPT to create it in a one paragraph format. Then have everything, consolidate everything for me in just one paragraph. So instead of having it like segmented like this, so it depends on how you want to document yours. So the business analysts have been able to do our own part or their own part. And the next thing is that they will now give all these findings straight down to the data analyst and the data scientist to now work with. So let's go back to the slide and let's see what's the next thing that we are going to be doing. So now to the data analyst part now, let me put it on the presentation mode so that you can see this very well. Now, for the data analyst now, the question is, what is the goal? What do you want to get what do you want to work with now in accordance to what we have now as data analysts pertaining to the problem statement? Now, the major goal right now is that we need to validate the business analyst hypothesis by creating a risk score and also calculate the exact churn rate for each customer segment. So we want to know, so by calculating the exact churn rate for each customer segment, we will know the particular segment that is having low retention rates or high churn rates. Then also, we will now test for the business analysis hypothesis. We are going to be creating a risk score column, whereby you're going to use a function to do that. So look at it now. The old way would have manually write the complex formulas, wasting time debugging syntax errors. But right here using ChatGPT, ChatGPT is going to give me an error-free code. Do you understand? I'll just have to copy it and edit it, or even look at it how it looks like, then build it in Excel. So that's one thing that ChatGPT is going to do for me. But before we go into the prompt, let's see what a data analyst is. Who is a data analyst? So a data analyst is a professional who collects data, they clean it, they analyze it, and even interpret it to help the organization better, to help the organization make better evidence-based business decisions. So look at the word evidence-based business decisions. So we are not making decisions based on what we feel. We are not making decisions based on what we think. We are not making decisions based on what our emotion is saying or what our brain is saying. No, we are making an evidence-based decision because we have a data that is backing our decision, and that's the job of a data analyst. So the business analysts have done their own parts. They've helped us to provide documentation we need. They've helped with the hypothesis. They help with the problem statement. Now, the data analyst will now look at the problem statement and collect the data. Do you understand? After collecting the data, they will now clean it. Do you get? So the part of clean data is still part of data analysis. So the data set we're going to be using has been cleaned already. I've done that for us so that we won't really waste more time on it. So after that, we will now interpret the data to help organizations make better evidence-based business decisions. So they go from transforming raw data into actionable insights by uncovering patterns, showing trends, and relation that explains what is happening and even why. So that's who a data analyst is. So look at the prompt. This is the prompt right here. So we already have the prompt created. So you're just going to follow the flow from the business analysis prompt. So we've already trained our chatbots. We've already trained our ChatGPT on what we are working with. So ChatGPT already understands the problem statement. ChatGPT already understands the three hypotheses you want to test for. ChatGPT already understands the data set. ChatGPT already understands the CEO's report. So we're just going to base it now and keep prompting our ChatGPT to give us a response that tailors to the start of the entire thing. I hope we are still together. If you are finding this session interesting, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. All right, all right. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. So I want to tell ChatGPT right now. I want to tell you that, okay, now you've acted as a senior business analyst the other time. But this time around, I want you to act as a senior data analyst expert in Excel. Why am I saying Excel? I want to use Excel. Excel is one of the tools of a data analyst. So I want to use Excel to analyze this data set. There are other tools you can actually use. You can use Power BI, you can use SQL, you can even use Tableau. But just for the simple part of it, I just want to use Excel to analyze data sets. And trust me, just two things the data analyst want to do. One, data analyst want to check for the churn rate. I also want to check for the three hypotheses by creating what? By creating the risk factor column. So here is the prompt. Look at the prompt. Look at the prompt. The prompt says, okay, I have two prompts. Let me just load everything. Now the prompt says, I have a data set with the following columns: customer contract type, monthly charges, tenure, churn, yes or no. Yes means churned, that is they've left. No means they are still our customer, they're still our loyal customer. So I'm going to be telling ChatGPT to write me an Excel formula to create a new column called risk category. So that's one of the things I'm going to be asking ChatGPT to do for me. So I'm just going to give it like, I'm not going to give it a logic because for that, I need an if statement to create that, because if something is like this, then return this. If this one is met, return that. So I want to give it a logic that, okay, check from the tenure column that if the tenure is less than 15, that's one condition, and the contract is month to month, that is two conditions. So if these two conditions are met, that is, if it's less than 12 and it is month-to-month contract, label them as high risk. Do you understand? But if any of this condition is met, label them as standard. So from there, we know customers that are about to leave, the high risk showing that they are the ones that are about to leave, while the standard are still our loyal customer, are still the customer we have within our pipeline. Then after that, I also want to get a churn rate. So also show me a pivot table strategy to tell me what and how to configure a pivot table, the rows, the column, the values to calculate the churn rates in percentage by contract type. So this is now the prompt I'm going to be feeding AI now and see how we're going to do this within 2-3 minutes. And we're done with the data analytics part using Excel. So let me take it back to the other slide and copy the prompts. So I'll just copy this entire prompt, Control C. Now go back to my ChatGPT and I will just paste it. This time around, like I said, I've already added a lot of prompts above around this place so that it's going to understand. So I've already trained my ChatGPT to see the data set I want to see it, to see the entire process how I want it to see it. So I'm just going to run this. I'm going to run this and see what the response will look like. Very fast, very fast. So look at it now. To create the risk category now, it's saying the business logic is this. Okay, this is the business logic. Now, this is the formula we're going to be using, Excel function that we're going to be using. You can see the if statement and the AND operator. I'm going to be combining these two functions together. And trust me, like I said, it's one thing to know how to use ChatGPT. It's another thing to understand data analytics, business analysis, or data science. So if I don't have the understanding of data analytics at all, I won't understand this formula or this function. If I don't understand business analysis at all, I won't know what hypotheses are or what to even test for or how to even prompt my ChatGPT. And if I don't even understand data science at all, I won't even know the exact machine learning frameworks that I can use for this particular project or even understand the result or the code, even if it's that ChatGPT is going to be the one to generate the code for me, I won't even understand the code if I don't understand data science. Do you understand? Even if I have the right prompt. So there's a need for you to understand these two, these tech tracks. This tech track, there's a need for you to understand that. So it has been able to create that column for me. And the next thing, it said I can either use this one or I use the regular way, any one I want to do. Then also for the pivot table strategy also, how I want to calculate my, what's it called? I want to calculate my churn rate. So all of this thing is just from the first step, I will insert the pivot table. Then second step, I will drag fields to pivot table areas. Then on the value, I will add two measures. I will drag one for counts of customers. I will drag the other one for churned customers. Then I'll filter it to what? To yes. That is, if I put a filter and I filter it to yes, that means I'm only showing our churned customers. Then I'll now calculate my churn rates, and which is like this. You can see another formula right here. So all of this I'm going to be showing you. So this is what AI has helped me to do. Despite the fact that AI has done it for me, I won't just be copying it straight off to go and dump it there. No, there are some points I can copy, go and edit. While sometimes I can just look at it and just see, okay, all right, this is the best way to go. This is the best way to approach this thing. This is the best. Okay, yeah, ChatGPT is right. So thank you for adding that brain to my brain. Then just go back to my Excel and go and do the whole thing. Do you understand? Now, the question you'll now be asking is that where is the data set? This guy is about to do something now. Where is the data set? I understand that business analysis process does not really need the data set. We just need the data headers. But right now, we want to even work with data sets. So where is data set? So this is data set. Let me take you about the slide. Now, if you go to slide, once you have the slide, if you go to slide 16, slide 16, I have something here that says, here, click here to download the data set. Click here to download the data set. And you can see that there is a word that looks like a trigger word here. So the word here, this word right here, let me put on the presentation mode so you can see very well. So this word right here, that is in here, HERE, has an embedded link that once you click on it, once you have the document and you click on it, it automatically downloads on your system. So I've created that workflow for you. I've created that automation for you. You don't need to start going to Google Sheets, download as a CSV file, or no. I've done that for you. So just click on it. Once you click on it, automatically downloads on your system. So that's the automation that is there. So I will demonstrate that in class. So I've clicked on it. You can see it's loading. So you can just keep verification. The code is actually nice. So, and you see it, open your browser for you. And before you know it, to start downloading, to start downloading. So can you see now? It has started downloading. It has started downloading. And you can see right here that it has downloaded telecom churn data. That's the name of data set. Telecom churned data. Telecom churned data. So what's the next thing for us to do after we downloaded this thing? Fantastic. Now, it's going to download on your system repository. That is your downloads. You can see right here. I have it. I've actually downloaded it before today. So I have it right here. This one I just downloaded now. It has been downloaded on my system. So you can always see it right here. You can always see right there. Can you see telecom churn data? So this data set I'm going to be using. So I'm going to open this data set right now in Excel. In Excel. So if you have WPS or Excel, anyone works, but the most preferable tool right now is Excel. So I'll right click on it. Once I right click on it, it's going to give me a set of options for me to now select the what's it called? So I want to open with Excel. Open with Excel, and let's see how it's going to look like. Let's see how it's going to look like. So this is how the data set now looks like. You can see it's different from the one I've done before. Look at the one I did and look at what we have here. So we're going to quickly work on this data set in 30 seconds to have that same thing. So first off, I would like to expand this entire data set. So I'll see data, I will see the entire data set. So I've seen all the data. This is the customer ID, this is the contract type, this is the monthly charges, this is the total charges, this is the tenure month, and this is churn. So for yes means they are churned customer. Why for no means they are loyal customer that they're still within the system. So I want to convert this to table first. So to convert to table, I'll click on any of the data points and press Ctrl T. After pressing Ctrl T, you see this small dialog box. Just press enter. Then I have it designed as table. That's just it. That's just it. So after that, I want to name this table because I want to do pivot table. So I'll just name this table. I'll now click on any of the table. Right here, you see that you have different Excel tabs. If you're familiar with Excel, these are called Excel tabs. If this is your first time of using Excel, these are also called Excel tabs. So I'll go to table design. You can only see table design once you click on the data set you formatted as table. If I click outside the data set, the table design will be gone. If I click on the data set, I'll see the table design right here. Can you see? I've seen table design right here. So after that, I'll just click on table design. So what I want to do here, all I want to do is that I just want to give this table a name. I want to do a job that I won't have to be going back and forth within the script or within the sheet. So I want to give this table a name. I just come here. I just give it data. I just want to give it data, a simple name so that I can easily track it. So I've given it a name called data. I've given it a name called data. Now, we need to calculate a column first, which is called risk factor column. Remember? Risk factor column. Risk factor column. So one beautiful thing about converting your data set to table is that everything will be automated. Once I press enter, see, it's created that table. And after writing my first what's it called, function like this, and I press enter, it will autofill the entire column for me without even doing anything like flash fill. To flash fill it for me without doing it myself. So what we want to check right now is that, remember we said we want to check if this contract type, if the tenure month is less than 12. So this is tenure month. If this tenure month is less than 12 and the contract type is month to month, it should return risk. If not, it should return what? It should return standard. Let's go back to our ChatGPT and go and see that again. Let's go back to ChatGPT and see that again. So this is it right here. So it's saying that if if tenure months is less than 12, that means if it's less than 12 months, and the contract type is month to month, return high risk. If not, return standard. I can easily copy this stuff right here, but it's one-on-one. It's what is in my Excel that Excel will identify. So that's why I'll just go and do it myself. So I've already seen how the function or the formula looks like. So I'll just go back to Excel and go and fix it in my Excel. I'll go and fix it in my Excel. So I'm just going to say the same formula. I'm going to write it here, equals to if, then I'll open my brackets. and again, that's what's in ChatGPT. So open bracket. So it's saying what's the first logical test? So the first logical test is saying that if tenure months, so I'm going to click on this first cell, which is 2, is less than 12, comma, and the contract month is equals to, I'll type that month to month. Now, because month to month is a text, I'll put it in double quote. So I'll put double quote, month, month, right? Type it exactly, month to month. So that it's going to recognize that text, month to month. Then if these two conditions are met, return, in fact, risk. Is it high risk or risk? Um, let's put it as risk. So because it's text, you're also going to put it in double quotes, risk, close double quotes. Then if not, call it standard. Call it standard. Then you close the bracket. So when it comes to two function like this, this is called nested function. So I nested AND function on if. So two brackets to be open, then I have to close the two brackets. So there's a red open, there's a black open. Let me zoom out so that you guys can see very well. Hold on, let me try. Can you see? Once I press enter, it auto filled the entire column for me. So let me zoom in a bit and go back to that formula. Now look at the formula again. If and tenure is less than 12 and the contract type is month to month, return risk. If not, return standard. So once I press enter, it automatically filled the entire column for me. From the first column to the last. Even if this column is 1 million rows, that's how it's going to fill it for me. That's one of the benefit of converting your data set to table, which I just did. So you can just come here to the drop down and see that you only have risk and standard risk factors, and that is it. So being able to solve the first one to check one of our hypotheses. So one of those hypotheses, we are still going to use data science approach to still even check on it. So now let's go and create the pivot table to now calculate the churn rates. Because we need churn rate, the two things we need as data analyst is the churn rate and also the risk factor. So with this risk factor now, we can still do more analysis to check, okay, those who have risk factor, do they have would they be living? So look at it very well. All the risk factor that we're even having, they are the one that have left. All the yes, they are the one giving us risk. Though there are some standards, there are some risk that are still within the company. That means they are not 100% in the company. They are one leg in, one leg out. But mostly those yes are actually risky and they've left the company. So we still have some that are still within the company, like this one that is saying this is still a loyal customer, but this customer is at risk of leaving. We are at risk of losing this customer. So can you see what this data set is giving us? We're actually seeing insight from even the table before even doing any other analysis. We're already getting insight from it. So now let's go and create our pivot table. So I'm going to create another sheet. So just come right here. Can you see this plus sign? We click on it. It's going to create a blank sheet for me. So let me zoom in. So I've zoomed in. So I'm going to create a pivot table right inside this sheet. So I'll just go straight down to insert. Now click on pivot table. Once I click on pivot table, you're going to see the dialog box. Now, this is the reason why I asked you to name your table. I asked you to name your table. So I'm going to give it the name I name my table. I call it data. So I type that data inside this table/range dialog box. I type it inside it and I click OK. And once I click OK, you can see that something actually came to this part and something came to this part. This is why I'm going to be creating my pivot table. Why this is my what? These are my pivot table fields. So you want to check it for contract type. Remember, I'll put my contract type. Just let's click and drag and drop it on rows. Then I'll click on my customer ID, drop it on values. But then I want it to be count of customer ID. So I'll just double click on this sum of customer ID, double click on it and select count. Then click on OK. Perfect. So I also want to get the churned customers now. There's another thing I still want to have. Okay, so let me do something. I need some rows right on top. I need some rows right on top because of my filter icon. Okay, so now I still need another column. This column now, I want it to be for churned customer that have left the company. And how will I bring this one there? I would have loved to bring it right inside the same pivot table, but because I'm going to be using filter and I still want to calculate the churn rate, I won't be bringing it inside this pivot table, like ChatGPT told us to do, but it won't be effective like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another pivot table right beside it. Just go to insert, pivot table. Now type data. I'll type data. Then I'll just go straight down to contract type as well. Drop it on rows. Then this time around, I'll drop my churn. Can you see churn? I'll drop them also on value. So I want to have the count of churn. So I'll just call this one churn customers. I'll just rename it. Sorry. I want to rename it. I want to call them churn customer. I'll call these guys, I'll call them total customers. Total customers. And I'll call these guys churned customers. Or let me just say churned. Let me just say churned. Churned means they've left. Now, I'm saying churn, right? But I'm still having the same number of both churn and loyal customers. So how will I be able to have the value for my churn customer? This is it. That same churn, I'll go and drop it on the filter pan for this particular second pivot table. So you can see the reason why I didn't drop it on, I didn't create this column on the first pivot table. So I'll now come to this churn, click on this drop down and select yes. Yes means they've left the company. Can you see? So from month to month, which is very valid, out of 119, 130, 199, 193 customers from month to month, contract type, 155 customers have left the company. That is very high. But for 1 year contract type, out of 99, just 2 have left. For 2 years contract type, out of 108, just 2 has left. So let's calculate the churn rate. Let's calculate the churn rate. So the churn rate is just the customers that have left divided by the total customers. That's just it. Customers that have left the company divided by the total customers. So just going to be equals to, I'll just click on 155. Can you see? Divided by 193. Now press enter. So I have it as 0.83, 0.803. Then I'll just autofill. You can see now. Now look at something. It's still looking like decimal now. We want it to be in percentage because the rates, customer churn rates. So let's select this entire column. Select the entire column. Then you now come to this place and select percentage. So it's we have it as 82.2%. Now look at something. The general churn for the entire customer, the contract type is 40%. But the churn rate for each contract type, we have month to month as 80%. That means 80% of those who are within 1 month, 2 months, or between 1 month and 6 months, 80% of those customers have left. That means they just want to check the customer, check the product, but they are not really interested in the product. That means the first hypothesis now is looking as if it's not correct. That is the pricing, the hikeness in price. So the price is not the problem because CEO is already saying that we should try and reduce the price. No, the price is not the problem because we have customers that have been here in 1 year, 2 years, still the same price, but they've not left. They've not left. So the pricing is not the problem. So the first hypothesis has been ruled out because you have 80% of customers that have been here just 1 month, 2 months, and they've left. 80% of that customer. So now the data analysts have been able to do their own part. Now, finally, to the data scientists. So in 5 minutes, we are going to wrap up so that my other colleague is going to come on board to continue with the section. Now, for the data scientists now, this is what we have. Now, the data scientists, we want to predict what the future holds. What the future holds for data scientists. We want to predict what the future holds. But before we do that, let's first of all know the goal of the data scientists in this project. So the data business analysts have done their part. Data analyst guys have done their part. Now, the data scientists want to build a machine learning model that predicts future churn with high accuracy and identify top drivers of customer loss. So it's going to look at the entire data now and check each segment of the data, and now check and predict what or which segment of data sets we're going to have high churn rates. And we need high accuracy for this. That is, we need something like having accuracy should be around starting from 85% and above. It's just like somebody telling you that I'm 95% sure that I saw that man yesterday. That means there's no doubt about that. It's certain, it's sure. That's what we mean by accuracy. So I'm going to be testing for the accuracy when we write the code, but it's not something serious. So now, in the old ways of doing these things, they would have spent time writing complex Python codes, debugging syntax errors, manually turning model parameters, all of those things. It would have been so difficult for them. But in this approach, I'm going to show you in just split of seconds. After prompting it, I'll have the entire code written and I'll run my code. So instantly generating a complex error-free machine learning pipeline by simply stating the prediction goal. So who is a data scientist before we now go into this? So what they do now is that they now predict models. They build predictive models, sorry. That is, they use machine learning framework to tell us what is going to happen in the future. Now, what we want to do is I want to see if there's going to be a future churn. We want to check for that. That's now what we want to check for. We'll be able to check what is going on in data set. We've seen that, okay, the increase in price is not what is actually happening, it's the month-to-month customer that are actually leaving. So we've been able to see the reason why we have the 15% drop in retention within 30 days. It's basically on the month-to-month subscribers. Now, we now want to check in the future what's going to happen. We're just going to be a churn. Are we still going to have these guys living in future? So we want to look at the past data to predict for the future. And here is the prompt. So the prompt says, as a data analyst, lead data analyst, data set as well, I wanted to write a Python script using scikit-learn to load the data sets, to pre-process data, to also train, because I'm going to be using a random forest classifier. I'm going to use a random forest, then also have an output model and the top 3 most important features driving churn. So I'm going to be using this particular prompt to, sorry, let's go back to the one that we can edit. Okay, so I'm going to be using this churn right, and I'm going to be using this prompt right here to create the machine learning frameworks, to create the code. So I'll go back to my ChatGPT. So I'll just come here, Control V, just put it right there, Control V. Now, based on all conditions, all protocols that I've been using before, create this for me. That's what I'm just telling ChatGPT. Just do this. Just run this code, and let's see something. Let's run this code. So this is a complete Python script. This is a complete Python script. So you can see it's actually I would have been the one writing the entire thing myself. Do you understand? I would have been the one writing the entire thing myself, but then Python have been able to create all the code for me. But now, yes, I'm going to copy and paste this entire code, but I'm going to show you something, guys, so that you have to be careful while copying and pasting. I've copied the code. Now I'm going to be launching this code in something called Google Colab. Google Colab is another interface that we can actually use to run this code. You can use Jupyter Notebook, you can use VS Code, and you can also use Google Colab. So I already have my Google Colab opened, but if you are new to Google Colab, once you just type Google Colab on what's it called, on ChatGPT, open it, you can just sign up. I already have mine. Sign up if you don't have yours. Okay, Sharon, you can just drop it. Sharon, you can drop your message. You can drop a message so that I can take your question, Sharon. Drop it on the chat box so that I can take your question. So I can just you can just open it and sign up, and that's it. But I already have mine opened. In fact, I've done the analysis before. You can see I've done it before. So I use Gemini and I use ChatGPT. I use both to just work around it. So this is what ChatGPT gave. So now I'm just going to show you how to open a new one. So all you just have to do is to just create a new notebook. So just open a new notebook. Um, New notebook in Drive. So everything is saved in my Drive. All of these scripts are saved in my Drive. So just go to open new notebook in Drive. So after opening new notebook in Drive, there's a need for you to upload the data set you are using, because you want to make sure that Google Colab is connecting to the data set. So you have to make sure that the data set you are going to be using is being uploaded on Google Colab. So Google Colab is running underneath. So let's wait, it's running. So it's a free, it's an open source. All the libraries that we're going to be needing, instead of you installing those libraries, we already have it on Google Colab. So I just come to this place that has folder. You can see my mouse. Sharon, I'm expecting your question. Can I just come to this place that has folder, and I'll wait for it to connect. It's connecting, so that it's going to enable file browsing. So it has been able to connect. So there's a sample data that comes with it. I'm not using that one. There's the data I want to use. So you see an arrow right here that says upload the section to section storage. So I'll click on this file. Then once I click on that file, I'll go and upload the data sets. Remember, we are using churn data. Churn data, then I'll open it. Then after doing that, okay, yes, okay. Just click on okay, everything's fine. You can see that the data set has been uploaded within that folder for this particular script. Now, the code I copied, I'll just come to this box and control V the entire code. Now, if I am not a data scientist, I won't detect that there's an error in this code. There's actually an error. It's not an error though, but there's an assumption in this code which is going to give us an error. So let me run it so that you see the error. And I'll tell you where the error actually came out from. It's running. It's running each line of code because there is a very large line of code. So can you see? I told you, file not found error. Now, why? Look at this particular line of code. This particular code is called, this library is called pandas. Like I said, you need to understand the entire thing in data science so that you'll be able to get this thing done. This is called pandas now. Pandas used to load a data frame. So these pandas now, look at the name of data set. It's saying telecom underscore churn underscore data.csv. But look at what we have here. We have capital T because Python is case sensitive and there's no underscore there. So it does not recognize this particular name, but this is the name of data set you're working with. But this is what ChatGPT gave us. So that's why I have to say that even if ChatGPT is giving you something, you need to cross-check. Cross-check if it's actually giving you the right result. So I'm just going to delete that one and just type the exact name. Telecom space churn space data.csv. CSV means comma separated value. So with this, it will not run an error. Let's run it again. It's not run an error and it's going to give us our result. Can you see that it's already give us a mark? This green mark. Within 0 seconds, it actually gave us a result. So let's go. You can see. Look at it now. Look at the model accuracy. The model accuracy is what? 97.50%. Do you get? And it gave us what? Gave us the what? The top most features driving churn. Look at it. Tenure. Tenure is having 38% of it. 38%, the future prediction showing that the tenure month, you're going to having 38.5 customers that will leave. Monthly charges are going to have 36, the contractor are going to have 24. So look at what is going to happen in the future. And this is so accurate because you're having a 97.5 accuracy model accuracy. So we are saying that 75% sure that this is what's going to happen in future. I am 75% sure of this was going to happen in future. Do you understand? So I actually have the code written also in, I have the code also written in Google Colab. But what I like what Google Colab did was that Google Colab was able to give me a visual to even visualize all of these things. So I'm just going to come here just to put in that code. It's still the same code, but there's something that was added to it. So let's run it. Okay, before I run it, let me check the name of the data set. Churn, okay, like I said, telecom is capital T, no underscore, capital C, no underscore as well, then capital D. Okay, so let's run this, shift and enter. So now it's running. So can you see? This gave me what? The visuals. This already gave me what? The visual. That's part of what I want to see. So I can see what I got here on ChatGPT is still the same thing, but when I make use of another one, it actually gave me the visual. You can see 35%, you can see 29, that's the same, almost the same thing. So saying that tenure month has the highest number of churn because they are mostly on month to month and also contract type. We also have months. These are just within 0 to 6 months. These are just every month. But this one still have the ability of the churn rate for this one. No, is not that high, but this is still what the future prediction if all things being equal. So there's some things that we need to do. There's something that we need to do to drive retention rates, which now recommendation, which now maybe you're going to be doing a loyalty stuff like giving a loyalty, what's it called, to our customers or giving so many things. Just make sure that we convert the month-to-month customer or 6-month customer to a 1-year plan. You can see what the data analytics guys gave us. From the data analysis guy gave us, it shows that the month-to-month guys are the one leaving. 80% of them left. But those who have contract type of 2 years or 1 year, just 2% of the entire 1 year or 2 years left out of 100%. So we already know that we need to pay emphasis on these guys. What can we do to make them our permanent customer, or to make them subscribe for 1 year or 2 years? And if we're able to do that, it will definitely reduce the churn rate and increase our retention rate. So that is that about that. I believe you've been able to understand and get one or two things from what has been treated in class today. So I want to believe you guys have questions for me. So if you have questions for me, please drop it on the chat box, and I will take your questions from there. All right. So let's make welcome. Okay, before I make welcome my other colleague, if you find this section interesting and fun and enlightening, please, I would like to see your thumbs up. Flood my screen with your thumbs up. Yeah, yeah. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming, guys. All right. All right. So I'll be welcoming my other colleague, Priscilla Fanama. Over to you.
Yes, hi Joshua. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Thank you so much for an insightful session. I enjoyed every bit of it. Okay. So, guys, if we enjoyed the session
Welcome.
just like I did, please leave a yes in the chat. If you enjoyed every bit of the session, please leave a yes in the chat. Let me be the first to leave a yes because, I listened in all through and I enjoyed every aspect of the session. Okay, just leave a yes if you enjoyed every bit of it. I see only two responses. We're 62 on this call. I want you to interact in the chat. Okay, I see your thumbs up. That's beautiful. But I also want you to interact in the chat, right? Now, we have like in the next 20 minutes, we're going to be out of here. And, this other half of the session is going to be very, very interactive. Okay, because now we've seen what it is that a data analyst can do, right? Leveraging AI, ChatGPT to be precise. We've also seen what it is a data scientist can do, right? And then a business analyst. So I haven't seen all of this. Okay, I haven't seen all of this. I want you to let me know in the chat which of these career paths, sounds more interesting to you. Okay, is it the business analyst, right? Is it the data analyst or the data scientist? So just leave which of these career paths is more interesting to you. Which of them are you interested in? Business analysis, just leave BA if you're interested in business analysis. Okay. If you're interested in data analytics, leave DA. All right. And if you're interested in data science, please leave DS. Isaac says all of them. That's pretty interesting, but you have to start from somewhere. So RS says DA, Monica says BA. Who else? I mean, we're a couple of us on the call. Please, it's going to be very interactive, right? Or interactive, pardon me. So Zaman says DA, Jake says DS. Beautiful. All right. I think the DAs are having it because we have two DAs, one business analysis, one data science. Tunde says data analytics as well. All right, that's pretty interesting to see. Okay, now, we've seen the beauty of being a data analyst, a business analyst, and a data scientist leveraging AI. Okay, so if you're in the field already, if you're already why says highest earning? Don't worry, with all of them, you get to earn really good, right? So if you're in the field already, if you're a data analyst already, if you're a business analyst already, if you're a data scientist already, please leave a one in the chat. But if you're a novice, right, you're a newbie trying to break into this career path, right, leave a zero in the chat, right? If you're in the field already, if you're already practicing, if you already know what it means to be a data analyst, a data scientist, or a business analyst, leave a one in the chat. But if you're quite unsure, right, you're about breaking into the space, leave a zero. Okay, let me see your response in the chat. So why say zero, right? Why is a newbie? Good to have you here. Francis says one, Hilda zero, Gideon says zero, Isaac zero. Okay, all right. We have a couple of newbies in the house, right? And the focus of this other half of the session is to show you how you can get into your desired career path. I believe that, getting into this session, you're curious. You want to know, okay, how do I get into data analytics? How do I become a data analyst? Or how do I become a business analyst or even a data scientist, right? Now, I very well know that you have your career path in mind, right? There's a career path you're interested in, okay? And then I want you to just be very honest in the chat. Tell me what scares you the most about, the career path you're interested in. What scares you the most? Are you scared that you don't have any technical background? How do you transition, right? Are you scared that you might not be able to get a job? You're probably too old, right? Or you're too young. So just tell me, what is the one thing that scares you the most about the career path you're interested in? Just be very honest. I need like 5 responses and then we get into the session, okay? So Tunde, Monica, Isaac, Ilda, what is the one thing you've heard about the career path, right, that scares you the most? Just leave it in the chat. Okay, Gideon says programming language. Hilda says the skills required. Okay, so who else? I need 5 responses and then we're going to kick off on the other half of the session. So, what is the one thing? Is it that, you don't have any technical background, just like Gideon? Gideon is scared of writing codes. That's one thing that scares him the most, right? So, just let me know, what is one thing? Is it being a business analyst? What scares you the most about being a business analyst? Codes, beautiful. Being a data analyst, being a data scientist. So see, Adekoya says the saturation of being a data analyst. Y says getting gigs. Nasiru codes. Okay, so we're gonna kick into this part of the session. Anthony says, will this training at 10 Analytics be enough? That is why we're going to go into the other half of the session right now, so that you can see for yourself, right? You can be able to tell, right, how the trading at analytics will be enough and it will take care of your fears. For those of us that are scared of writing codes, for those of us that wonder what are the skills required, am I even capable, right? For those of us that are really worried about, the saturation, let's get right into it, okay? But before we get started, I also want you to know that, here at Analytics, like my colleague Joshua said, we've been in business for a little over 5 years now. Right. And we've seen people, right, like yourself trying to transition into tech, people that came with their fears, right? Some people were really scared. Okay, can I even do this thing? I'm just a stay-at-home mom, right? I'm just a student. I've just completed my master's and I want to transition. I'm a care worker, right? I'm a teacher. How possible is it for me to transition into tech after 6 months of learning? Okay, Tenalytics tells me that once I come into the program, I should be able to get a job after learning. But how possible, right, would it be? Okay, so Comrade says what scares me is time taking to gain enough experience, right? Now, I want to show you a couple of people that have gone ahead of you, right? People that have walked the talk. They were in similar situations like yourself. Okay. And right now, it seems impossible. Okay. Right now, it seems impossible to get into data analytics, right? A lot of us have heard that the data analyst space is saturated. So, how possible would it be for you to transition and get a job? Same as the business analysis space, right? Same as the data science space. Okay. Now, I would start with, this beautiful story that I like to tell. Right? This beautiful story that I like to tell, because I need you to move from the whole mindset of, can I really do this thing? To seeing people that have done it before. That way, you are able to build confidence, right? Now, the very first person here on my screen, her name is Ikmat. Okay. Now, Ikmat had just given birth, right? And she was in the UK. Okay. And she was wondering, okay, what do I do at the moment? I'm a full-time stay-at-home mom. I don't want to keep being a stay-at-home mom because the bills are piling up. She wanted to be supportive, right? So She had a 2 year employment gap as well. I know that for some of us, right? We've taken leaves, we've been out of jobs for a while, and we're wondering, how do I fill up the employment gap? Okay. So Ikmat, wanted more for herself. She knew that she didn't just want to be a stay-at-home mom. All right. She had fears, okay? Data analytics, that path, is seemingly saturated. Okay. Do I need to write codes, right? Is the timeline even enough for me? Just the same way you have these fears. All right. But guess what? She came into our data analytics program here at Analytics. And I like Ikmat's story because she was very intentional. Okay. She didn't just want to get the skill. Okay. She didn't just want to become a data analyst, but she also wanted sponsorship, right? She wanted sponsorship, okay? And then she joined our program, right? And after taking our program, less than 4 months, into the program, she was able to get a job as an information analyst. Okay. And the job came with full visa sponsorship. This is somebody like yourself with zero experience. I mean, you can see here on my screen, she moved to the UK for a master's in public health. She gave birth, right? Zero experience, zero data skills, just she literally knew nothing. But then she got into our program, okay? And she was able to achieve her goal of getting a job, right? Less than 4 months into the training program. So for those of us that wonder, is the time enough? This is somebody less than 4 months. Not to worry, I'll play Ikmat's testimonial so that you get to listen. Meanwhile, I want to urge you to fill the attendance form, okay? Because, I've curated a lot of testimonials on this slide, including Joshua's data set. It's all on this slide, right? So you need to fill the attendance to get access to this slide. All right, this is Ikmat's one example, right? I will talk about Pavel. Okay, now Pavel was a teacher, right, in Cameroon. Okay, he was a teacher in Cameroon and he was able to move from being a teacher, okay, to a data analyst, right? He was able to move from being a teacher, okay, to a data analyst in the US. Just imagine that transition. For most of us on this call, this could be your story. All right. Moving from being a healthcare assistant, from being a nurse, a bedside nurse, into tech. All right. Now, this is Pavel, okay? And I've left the link to this testimonial here in the chat. Pavel moved from being a teacher to being a healthcare data analyst right there in the US, okay, without any experience. Okay, without any experience. The only thing he did was to join Analytics, right? Join our data analytics program to be precise. Okay, and then he was able to go through all the strategies that we have here at Analytics. And less than 3 months after completing the data analytics program, he got a job. This is somebody without prior experience. I also have Sharon here. All right. So Sharon moved from being a healthcare worker in the UK, all right, to a business data analyst in the same company that she was, working for as a healthcare worker. And that happened in less than 3 months. Okay, what she did was to join our business analysis program. She also plugged into the strategy. We'll be seeing more of that as we go into the session. What strategy did Analytics use, such that complete beginners were able to get jobs? All right. And then, Sharon herself moved from being a healthcare worker to a business data analyst in that same company. So you see that, getting the skill, you don't necessarily have to apply to another company. You can skill up, you can earn better in that same company. So for those of us that are in the UK that already have sponsorship and we're scared, okay, I don't want to go and start from, I already have done 3 years, right, using this sponsorship. I don't want to get another job and start from the first year again. You see that you're just able to continue. All right. You're able to skill up, get a better role in your organization. And all of this is possible, all thanks to Analytics, right? I have Atinuke here. All right. She, joined our program, our data science program, and she was able to get a job as a senior research analyst after joining our data science program. So I have quite a couple of people. But, all this being said, I want to show you, right? I want you to hear for yourself. ICMAT story, because, I mentioned I was going to share that. All right. So I just want you to take out a minute, just listen through, right? While Hikmat just tells a story of how she got into the program and she was able to get a job. So I'll mute my mic, right? And then I'll just play this for you. When you start hearing Hikmat, just let me know in the chat. Okay. Just leave a yes as soon as you start hearing Hikmat. Okay. I'll go ahead to play Ikmat's success story.
Hi everyone, my name is Ikmat, and I was with the March cohort in Analytics, and joining Analytics has been the best decision so far. For me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Analytics came along, and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And then I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short, that Effie is always saying, it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. In Analytics, they will hold your hands like a child, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study. You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You have people you can always go back to, even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it's the best decision ever, because he was like, he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked. And I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice, and then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he was mentioning, everything he mentioned, it was just, they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a maths test, and then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely you are going to get some no's, and then you may begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And yes, it worked. It really worked for me, because I got my first job 3 months into the program, my first job. But I couldn't take up the job because I was a student, and I was only eligible to work 20 hours. So I couldn't take up the job. 3 months later, I got 2 jobs with full visa sponsorship. And guys, all the other no's before the 2 jobs prepared me for the yeses I got. So yes, the no's will come, but do not give up, because you always have Analytics to go back to. They are the best, and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then yes, and they are the most affordable, one I've come across so far, and that's a very good advantage. So yes, Analytics for the win.
Absolutely. So this was Ikmat's story. Okay, coming into the program, and 3 months in, she got her first job offer. So for those of us in the chat that are concerned, right, the time taking to get the experience, like Isaac, right, and Comrade Olufemi as well, right, and then Anthony, will this training be enough? At least this should serve as one story that you can lean onto, one story that you can bank on. We have a couple of them, a lot of them, right? As a matter of fact, we've been able to help over 3,000 plus people get jobs. So we have quite a lot of stories, all right? And, I can categorically tell you that here at Analytics, we've taken care of all of your fears, right? Through the strategies that we've put in place. Okay, so I have a lot of people here on my slide. All right. I have Judith from being a carer in the UK to a business analyst. Judith's story is very interesting because she's currently currently working remotely for a company in the US. She resides in the UK, right? But she took our business analysis program and she was able to get a job working with a company in the US. So she's working remotely. For those of us that have our eyes on remote jobs, okay, this is to show you that it is very much possible. Okay, then we have mountain here. I have a lot of them. All right. This is Ene landed a data scientist role with a company in Germany. She's currently in UK. So those of us that are big on remote roles, you see how possible it is, with Analytics, of course. Right. So ensure you're filling the form, okay, because one will be unable to go over all of these testimonials just so that when you get the slide, you can take your time, just go through all of the success stories, right, from different people all over the world, right, and how they've been able to transition into business analysis, into data analytics, and into, data science. All right. So just take your time and then fill the form. Okay. Now we'll go into the strategy that would help you achieve your goal. Because if you take a look at all of those success stories I shared, they had one thing in common. Right? They had one thing in common. Every single one of them joined Analytics. That was the thing that they had in common, right? They joined Analytics, right? And then you begin to imagine how did Analytics train people such that in less than 3 months, without any prior experience, those people were able to get jobs. Okay, what are the strategies that they use? That's something I'll be showing to you, here on this call as well. Okay, so I'll literally show you the strategy that would help you achieve your goal of getting into data analytics, of getting into business analysis, or even data science. All right. So what is the strategy? The strategy is to first of all learn. Okay. The strategy is to first of all learn. All right. You need to first of all, learn the skills required to land a job in your desired career path. Right? That is the most important step. Nobody can take that away. So you see people that are scared, that I'm going to go into data analytics and AI is going to take my job, right? I hope that with today's session, after Joshua has been able to show you how you can leverage AI, you've been able to see that it is not AI that will take, anybody's job. It is not AI that will take your job, but it is people that know how to use AI, right, that will take your job. So what that goes to show you is you need to learn the right skills. Okay, you need to learn the right skills, right? So let's talk about the right skills. I know that somebody in the chat mentioned, okay, they're scared and worried about how data analytics is saturated. So what we did here at Analytics is we were able to analyze 117,367 job postings because we needed to see, the career path that recruiters or employers are looking for and where the job market is headed. All right. So we took a look at different job boards across the US, UK, Canada. We did our analysis. Remember, we wanted to see, the career paths that recruiters were looking to, employ, right? They were looking to fill up. And if you can see here on my screen, right, you'd see the artificial intelligence and machine learning engineers, right? That is your data scientist. You would also find the umbrella term here, data scientist. Then you find data analyst. Okay, you would find data analyst. I want us to pay, rapt attention to this because I know that somebody in the chat, talked about how, data analyst is saturated. That's Adekoya, right? But you can see here from our analysis across the different job boards, okay? You'll find data analyst as the fourth role that is in demand. All right. And then you'd see your business analyst. They're also your process automation specialist. Okay, so this is to tell you that you're not getting into a career path that is saturated, so to speak, or a career path where there will be no jobs for you after learning. So having seen that recruiters are looking for people with these skills, right? We need to take a look at the skills you need to learn. Okay, to become this data scientist, to become the data analyst and the business analyst, right? What are the things you need to learn? Because remember, that's the first strategy, learning. Okay, so what we've done here at Analytics is from all of our analysis, we took a look at the skills that are most important, the skills that a business analyst should have, right? These skills are global. A business analyst in UK is the same as a business analyst in US, right? So what are the skills that are the core, right, of this career path, right? You'll find them here on my screen. Okay, the first thing you need to learn as a business analyst is Excel, Power BI, and SQL. That is the very first thing you need to learn. Okay, that is the very first thing you need to learn because as a business analyst, your job is to make a process better, right? Your job is to understand what is going on with this process. Just as the example we saw, while we're experiencing a churn, right? You want to understand what is going on. Sometimes you need to analyze data to understand what is going on. And over time, from all of our analysis, we've been able to see that recruiters are looking for business analysts that can analyze data. So you have that here on my screen, Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Then you have process mapping. Okay, you need to be able to map out the current process. Okay, map out the current process and then, the to be process. That is the core skill a business analyst should have. Then you have project initiation planning, as well as Agile and Scrum for project, software development lifecycle, requirement fundamentals, elicitation, stakeholder analysis and engagement, and of course, ChatGPT for business analysis. Now, these are the skills you need to learn if you want to get into business analysis. All right. And these are some of the tools you'll be using. I already mentioned Excel, Power BI, and SQL. You'll use Lucid Chart. You'll learn how to use Lucid Chart. You'll learn how to use Draw.io, right? Confluence, Azure DevOps, Trello. These are the tools you should learn how to use if you want to go into business analysis. We'll take a look at data analysis. What are the skills, that you should learn how to use? All right, you'd see them here on my screen. If you want to go into data analytics, the first thing you need to learn is how to solve problems, how to get to the root cause of the problem that the organization is experiencing. And we have different approaches, different techniques, in problem solving. So our goal, for you coming into the program, the first thing we're thinking is, how do we ensure that you key and develop the mindset of a data analyst, right? That is where problem solving comes in. How do you approach problems as a data analyst? The way that a business analyst will approach problems it's very much different from the way that a data analyst will approach problems. So we'll first of all ensure that you develop the mindset, of problem solving as it pertains to data analyst. Then Excel. Excel is like the bread and butter of every single data analyst. Okay. You also get to learn SQL, structured query language, right? Now, data is, you'll find data stored, in its location, which is known as a database, right? And, as a data analyst, if you want to communicate to that database, you can't just use Excel. There's only one language you speak to the database, which is SQL. Right? Then you have Power BI as well. You are able to use Power BI for visualization. You're also able to, use Power BI and connect, to different data sources. And there's something called automation in Power BI. And then you have Tableau, data storytelling, ChatGPT, Microsoft Fabric. So for those of us that are interested in data analytics, you see that there's no one single programming language here. Because the truth is, as a data analyst, you don't need to write a code to get your first job as a data analyst. You don't need any programming language. You see the success stories I shared of all the people that got into the data analytics program. They did not learn how to write one single line of code. Okay, these tools are more than enough, to ensure that you're able to transition and get a job as a data analyst. These are the core things that recruiters are looking for. So for those of us that are worried, I don't want to write any line of code, okay? You have the data analytics part. You also, have the business analyst part, right? Now we'll take a look at the data scientists, okay? The people that can predict, right? The people that can see into the future. Okay. So going into data science, what are the things you need to learn? Now, the first thing you need to learn is statistics. Statistics is the foundation of data science, right? Because through statistics, you're able to summarize a data. Okay, so coming into the program here at Analytics, we first of all teach you statistics. Then you go into forecasting and predictive analytics using Microsoft Excel. All right. Then you have Tableau for data analytics. You also have structured query language. Then Python programming. Okay. And then exploratory data analysis, machine learning. Okay. We literally just, saw Joshua, building a machine learning model through AI. Right. But if you take a look at it, you would not be able to understand anything. Okay, that is where Analytics comes in. So we're teaching you machine learning right from the very scratch. Then computer vision. You also have GitHub for version control, ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot for coding, as well as Microsoft Fabrics for analytics. So if you're interested in data analytics, in data science, these are the skills that are required of you. Right? So now that we've been able to see the skills that are required of us, okay? Now, if you want to get a job, okay, you ought to know that you need to be very intentional and strategic about your learning. Now, I've shown you the skills that are required of you. If you're concerned about the knowledge alone, you just want to have head knowledge, then you can go onto YouTube to pick up videos just to watch. But if you want to gain experience, if you want to get a job, right, you learn, in a structured environment. Right? Now, what is the best way to learn such that you're able to move from the classroom into your first job as a data analyst, as a business analyst, or a data scientist? Okay. Now, before I go into this, I want you to imagine, say you want to, get a job, right? Recruiters would want you to have experience, right? Just think about it. In the tech space, recruiters are very big on experience. Now, you want to get that first job, they'll need you to have experience. But if you don't work, how do you get experience? So you're literally at a crossroad, right? Recruiters would want you to have experience before they can give you the job. But if you don't work, how do you get the experience? Right? This is where your learning journey has to be very, very intentional. Right. Now, the very best way to learn to gain experience is by learning in a project-based environment. Okay. Even on the job itself, the only way you gain experience is by working on projects. Right? That is the only way you gain experience. And then, what that means is if you want to gain experience so that you're able to showcase a recruiter, yes, I can do this thing, that would mean that you need to learn in a project-based environment. You need to know what it means to be a data analyst from practical experience, from hands-on experience, not just the head knowledge. So what we do here at Analytics is to ensure that you will be learning in a project-based environment. So you see all the tools, all the skills you'll be getting. You're not coming to do theories, right? Because theories don't get you the job, right? The experience will get you the job. So what we do here at Analytics is to ensure that you are learning in a project-based environment. And through that way, you get to gain experience. In a nutshell, you are learning by doing the real work, right? And then, you're also learning to showcase your work because it's something to know something, right? And it's another thing to be able to showcase and communicate what you know. Now, if you don't communicate, right? If you don't, sell yourself, no recruiter would know that this person has this skill. So while learning in a project-based environment, getting the hands-on experience is very important and critical. You also need to learn how to showcase your work. And the only way you do that is by building a portfolio. We'll talk more on that as we go, right? But I need you to bear in mind that the best way to learn all of the skills that I've showed you, the best way to learn such that you're able to get a job, is to learn in a project-based environment. Okay, that is the best way to learn, right? And then you also need to learn how to showcase your experience. It is not enough to gain the experience. You need to showcase, your experience. So here at Analytics, right? How do you gain this experience? From you gain the experience, through projects from your classes. Right. So you're working on real world projects, on real world case studies as a business analyst, as a data analyst, right? As a data scientist. And then you also have 2 months of internship after learning. Okay, so you have 2 months of internship here at Analytics. And then we partnered with a company that is registered in London, for your internship. Okay, so apart from the experience that you gain during the learning journey, you're also able to get into this internship, right? And then gain more experience. Okay. And then I also need to mention for those of us that are wondering, okay, so when I'm done learning, you've said that recruiters would want me to have experience. How do I now, show them that I have experience apart from my portfolio? They need to see it on my CV. How do I show them that I have the work experience? Okay, so because of the way you are learning here at Analytics, you are learning by doing, by gaining practical experience. You have the opportunity, the very unique opportunity to have Tenalytics and Amdari, which is the company you'll be doing your internship with, right there on your CV. Imagine going from being a healthcare worker or even a teacher, into gaining experience, learning a skill, and having two solid work experience on your CV. Right. Imagine going from where you are at the moment to having two solid experience that you can defend any day, anytime. Okay. So remember the projects you'll be working on here at Analytics. Okay. Through those projects, you are gaining experience. Don't forget. And because of that, you're able to have on your CV that you've worked for Analytics as a consultant. Right? Now, your job description will be the project you worked on and the impact of these projects. Right? I was able to help this company reduce their churn rate by 50%. That was something you did while working on the project. So you can have that clearly on your CV. And guess what? You can defend it any day, anytime because of how you learned. That was your experience. That was a project that you worked on. Okay. And then when it comes to showing evidence of your work, this is where your portfolio comes in. Right. Now, imagine you want to buy a car. Okay. You visit two dealerships. Right. The first one, they tell you, oh, we have this Lamborghini. They just give you a pictorial view of it. We have the car. These are the features of the car. This is what you're able to do with this car. And then they're just talking to you. They're only telling you. Right. You don't get to test run the car or test drive the car or anything. You don't even get to see the car. That is the first dealership. And then the second, right, they will literally show you the car. And then they can tell you, okay, let's test drive it. So you see what you're getting. They have a showroom that contains the cars that they have. Okay, now which of these dealerships would you buy your car from? Of course, the one that you can literally see for yourself, right? You can see with your eyes that, this car is working. I've, had to drive it. Okay. And then, they have a couple of other cars and they also have, a lot of customers. Now, that is what your portfolio will do for you. Your portfolio will show a recruiter that, yes, this person has this experience. So in as much as you're learning, you need to have a portfolio. And that is something we'll teach you how to do here, teach you how to build here at Analytics. Now, the second strategy is to position. For those of us that are worried about how data analytics and certain career path, business analysis and the likes are saturated, where our fear is coming from is you go on LinkedIn, right? And you see a lot of people saying they're data analysts, they're business analysts, they're data scientists, right? But as a matter of fact, over 60% of those people don't have jobs, right? In that career path. Okay, so you see that these people don't have, they just say that, yes, I'm a data analyst, I'm a business, but they don't have the true jobs. All right, this is where positioning comes in. Okay, a lot of people learn, but they struggle to get jobs, right? They learn, but they struggle to get jobs. Okay, so here at Analytics, the second strategy for us, because we believe that learning is not enough. Learning the technical skills, building a portfolio is not enough. You also need to be positioned properly. And what does position means or positioning? It just means gaining the right employability skills, right? Gaining the right employability skills. It is one thing to have the technical skills, the portfolio, right? But if you have those and your CV is a mess, your CV is not keyword optimized, right? No recruiter would give you the job, okay? Because your CV literally goes ahead of you. Imagine you want to apply to a job. You first of all send in your CV. Right. So what we do here at Analytics as part of our positioning is to ensure that you coming into the program, your CV will be properly reviewed and revamped. If you want to apply to jobs as a business analyst, there are certain keywords that your CV should carry. Right? If your CV doesn't carry those words, it doesn't even get to the recruiters because there's something called the ATS, the applicant tracking system. It's more like a security guard that has been programmed to look for certain keywords in a CV. Right? If your CV doesn't contain those keywords, it just throws it in the trash, and your CV doesn't even get a chance, to get to the table or the desk of the recruiter. So what that goes to show you is your CV has to be properly reviewed and revamped, which is something we'll do, here at Analytics. Right? Then we also have LinkedIn optimization. If you listen to most of our success stories, you hear people say, oh, I was able to get a job on LinkedIn. This recruiter reached out to me on LinkedIn. Right? Now, how they were able to achieve that is by ensuring that their LinkedIn profile is properly optimized. It carries the right keywords, right? There are certain strategies that we've been able to hack such that, you come into business analysis, data analytics, or data science, and a recruiter around your environment or locality is looking to fill up a role. They go on LinkedIn and they search, and your name would appear amongst the top profiles. That is LinkedIn optimization for you. Okay, then you also need to know how to navigate the job market. So what we do here at Analytics is to teach you how to apply to jobs, right? We teach you how to apply to jobs, and then we don't stop there, right? We're also able to provide jobs you can apply to. So you see how robust this is, right? We don't stop at teaching you how to fish, but we also give you fish, right? We teach you how to apply to jobs, okay? And then we provide jobs you can apply to. Visa sponsorship roles, remote roles, contract-based roles, just name it. So what we did was to subscribe to premium job boards. So that apart from the regular job boards, you'd have access to Glassdoor, Read.co, and the likes, you can still have access to other, premium roles so that, you increase your chances of getting a job. Right? That is one thing we've been able to do. So we pay so you don't have to pay. And on a weekly basis, we give you these jobs. Then we have interview preparation. Imagine yourself as somebody without any experience. You've gained the skills, you have a portfolio, your confidence is on the rise. Okay, you apply to a job and you have an interview coming up, but you don't even know how to introduce yourself as a data analyst, a business analyst, or a data scientist. When they ask you competency-based question, tell me one time you use lucid chats. Right? Tell me one time you built a machine learning model. How do you go about answering that? So what we've done here at Analytics, is to ensure that if you have an interview coming up, you have a professional that can sit you down and prep you for that interview. Teach you how to introduce yourself, right? Teach you how to answer competency-based questions. Okay? How you can negotiate for salary and all of that. Okay? So we have this robust interview preparation session. And it doesn't matter the number of interviews you have, right? If you have 10 interviews, you can book for 10 prep sessions. Then we'll also provide you with job reference letters. Remember, on your CV, you have 10 analytics and the company that you'll be doing your internship with, you have them as your work experience. Now, when recruiters see those, they'll reach back to us for reference letters, right? To provide, reference letters to vouch for you. That's something we're able to do here at Analytics. Then we have on-the-job support. So you get your first job and you have a task and you're quite unsure. To be very frank with you, a lot of our students barely come back for this because of the way they are learning, right? But we still have this handy. Then you also have weekly mentorship sessions, right? So once you get into the program on a weekly basis, you get access to people that have gotten jobs ahead of you, right? You literally hear them talk through their experience, the things you should avoid, right? You literally get access to global recruiters that would mentor you, right? The founders and the co-founder of Analytics, you also get access to these people, right? And then on a weekly basis, you get mentored. Then we have, Upwork optimization as well. Now, Upwork is a freelance platform where you can go on there, and if you want to get a quick gig, you can easily apply, get your quick cash and you're out. That is for those of us that are not interested in working full-time for any organization. All right. So we've seen the first strategy is to learn. Okay. The second is to be positioned properly. And the third, is applying with precision. Okay. Now, if you see 5 business analyst roles, right? Each of these roles, right? Even though they carry the umbrella term business analyst, their job descriptions may be different. They could contain different keywords. So what that means is when you're applying to those roles, you need to tailor every single one of your application, right? So it carries the right keyword. That is something you'll be learning how to do here at Analytics. So you're not using one CV to apply to numerous jobs. Okay, you're not using one CV to apply to numerous jobs here at, after learning here at Analytics. All right, so that is one strategy. And then the second is for you to make quality applications. Right, in as much as you are applying to jobs, you're not just sending out any application, right? You ensure that they are quality applications. And like I said, you're tapping into the paid and hidden job market. This is where Analytics comes in. Now, what I've done is to attach a snippet of how you find the jobs that we provide. Remember, I said that apart from regular job boards you have access to, we also provide jobs you can apply to. So this is how you'll be getting it. You see the job title, the company, the location, whether it has sponsorship or not. Okay, this is something you'll be getting here at Analytics. And of course, your mentorship sessions. Okay, now these are, this is the third strategy that you need to apply. I also have additional success stories here. Okay, additional success stories for you to go into. And after saying all of this, right, after telling you the strategy with which over 3,500 people have been able to get jobs, I know that the very next thing, is for you to get into your career path, right? Your chosen career path, the career path you're interested in. Okay, and now you're not doing that from a place of guessing anymore. You're not guessing if this is right for you or not, right? You're not wondering, will the experience, will 6 months be enough? Okay, because you've seen that, at Analytics, a lot of people get in and barely 6 months into the training, they're able to get a job before the end of the training even. Okay, so that goes to show you that what you'll be getting here at Analytics is more than enough. And this is high time for you to just lay to rest those fears that you have and get started on that career path. Now, the first best time to get into data analytics, data science, or business analysis was, say, 2 years ago, right? And the second best time is now. So it is actually time for you to get started on your right career path. So if you've been following me so far, right? If you've been following me so far, I want you to type in the chat and you're wondering, how can I get started? Okay, how can I get into data analytics? How can I get started in business analysis, or data science? Just ask in the chat, how can I get started? I want to know those of us that have been following me, right? If you've been following me so far, just type in the chat, how can I get started? If you've been following and you're interested in getting started, okay? So Samuel says, how can I get started? Oluwadamilola says, how can I get started? So we'll talk about that right away. Okay, so for you to get started, it's very simple. The next thing for you to do is to register for our next cohort, right? Our next data analytics class, our next business analysis class, our next data science class. And that starts on the 7th of March. Right? So the next cohort begins on the 7th of March. Okay. And what would it cost for you to get into the training at Analytics? What would it cost for you to, be our business analysis student, or even our data analyst student, or our data science student? Now, the full amount of the training here at Analytics is 1,250 US dollars. That is the full amount of the training. Okay, but we have a discounted price. Okay, and what that means is you are on this call and you want to get started, you're interested in getting started. You don't have to pay 1,250 US dollars. And that's because we have a 20% discount available to you. All right. So with this discount, instead of paying $1,250, all you need is $1,000. Right? That is all you need to get started. And guess what? To the most juicy part, you don't need to pay the entire $1,000. Right? You only need $200. Okay? You only need $200. Right? And this discount, it's 20% off, and you are interested in the March cohort. This is the early bird discount, right? And just the same way you can see on my slide, it's only available to 20 persons. Right? The early bird discount, where you get to pay $1,000 instead of $1,250, is only available to 20 persons. Right? This opened up on Monday. And right now, 13 slots have been taken. Right? 13 people have been able to take advantage with just $200. So we only have 7 slots available. Okay, we only have 7 slots available. So if you're looking to get started, in the career path you're interested in, okay, so you need to be amongst the 7 people, right? So what I want to do for you right now is my colleague will be sharing the registration link, so that you're able to take advantage of the discount. They'll put the registration link there in the chat. Right? And then because you're on this call, I would show you how you can, navigate through the registration so that you can take advantage and be amongst the 7 people, that will be registering for the training at Analytics. Okay, so you find the link on the chat, and as soon as you click on that link, it brings you here. Right? As soon as you click on the link, it brings you here to the Analytics website. So here you get to see the various courses that we offer. Okay, and just scroll down. Right? You see data analytics, you see business analysis. And then when you keep scrolling, you see all of the other courses. Right? So if you're interested in data analytics, just scroll down to data analytics. If you're interested in business analysis, scroll down to business analysis. Okay, so I'll use data analytics to, show you how to take advantage of your discount. So when you click on the link, it brings you here. Click on data analytics and click on buy now, right? So when you click on buy now, to your left, you would see enroll now. That is the next thing you want to click on. Okay, so when you click on enroll now, it will prompt you to create an account, a free account. You can do that in less than 5 minutes with your first name, your last name, your email address. So just create the account, and then it would ask you to confirm your enrollment. So on the website, you get to see that the 20% discount has already been applied. Okay. And like I said, our next cohort starts on the 7th of March. Okay. It starts on the 7th of March. And then we have another cohort for April. So if you want to get started so that before September, you're able to get a job, you want to go for the March cohorts. Right. So just ensure you're clicking on the March cohorts. But if you're too busy, right, and you're thinking, I won't be able to, I have my March, the month of March is filled up for me. I'd rather start in April. You can also click on April. The early bird discount still applies. Right? So just click on March if you're interested in March, right? And here on the site, you would see a currency selector. So this is currently showing in pounds. So it will display the cost of the training in your local currency. So what you want to do, just in case you want to pay in another currency, you can click on the currency selector and pick the desired currency. So I'm going to use the US dollars. Okay. And then you get to see what I call the 5 monthly installments. So with the 5 monthly installments, remember you get to pay a total of 1,000 US dollars, right? What this means is you're paying $200 every month. Right, every month for a 6 month learning in class journey, because you'll be learning for 6 months, you get a 2 months of internship. Imagine still paying by the 5th month. Okay, so you're literally still paying by the 5th month using the 5 monthly installment. You're seeing what you're paying for. Then we also have the, 2 installments. So with this, instead of paying $1,250, you'll be paying $900, right? So you're saving $350. But then if you want to pay once, you get to pay 850 US dollars. So just choose the option that is most flexible for you, right? And click on apply discount. Okay, now when you click on apply discount, it applies the discount and loads up. So you just want to scroll down, right? And while scrolling, you would see your payment breakdown. So if you want to be amongst the 7 people that will take advantage and you secure a spot today, right? Now, the next time your payment will be due will be the 12th of March. But if you're unable to secure a spot then, right? I mean, if you're unable to make payment then because you don't get paid till the end of the month, you're able to edit your next payment date. You see how flexible this is? Okay. Now just scroll down, check the box that says I confirm my information is correct and I've read the terms and conditions, and go ahead to click on pay now. That way, you get to be amongst the 7 people that are left. Okay. Now, if tonight 7 people are able to take advantage of this 20% discount, the price reverts back to normal. And if you're on this call and you want to get started, there's no way you would want to pay $1,250 when you can pay $1,000, right? So that being said, okay, I'd like to take your questions now at this point. So if you've got questions for me, right? After everything I've said so far, you're wondering, okay, I still have a couple of questions, right? This is the point where we get to interact, where I get to answer your questions, okay? But ensure that you're taking advantage of the discount, okay? Because as soon as 7 people are able to take advantage, the price reverts back to $1,250. I'll show you this in pounds, right? So the equivalent of $1,000 in pounds is 766 pounds. Okay. And using the 5 monthly installment, you just need to pay £153.20. All right. You also have the 2 monthly where you'll be paying a total of £690, and then the one-time payment. All right. So that being said, if you have a question for me, please feel free to leave your question in the chat, right? So we have 5 minutes left, right, for question and answer. So if you have a question, please leave your question in the chat so I can take your questions. Okay. So I see a couple of us still here on the call. Ahmed, Benedict, I also have Chima, Olufemi, Christina, Benga, Gideon, iPhone, Isaac, Lewis, Jake, Jemai, Modesta. If you have a question from me, please leave that in the chat. Musonda, Samuel, Tina, Y. Okay, if you have a question around, how you can get started or any other thing I've mentioned so far, please leave it in the chat so I can take your questions in the next 5 minutes. I can't see any question in the chat. Does that mean that we're very clear on everything I've shared today? Is that what it means? Right? I'll be really, really excited, if we're clear on every single thing I shared here today and we are taking advantage of the discount. Okay. But if you've got a question, this is the time for you to ask, right? But if you feel like you want to unmute and ask your questions, you can just raise your hand, and I get to take your question. Just can we all hear me, please? Because I don't see any of our questions in the chat. If you can hear me, please leave a yes in the chat. All right. If you can hear me, if you can still hear me, you're still following. Thank you, Damilola. All right. So anybody else, please leave a yes in the chat if you can hear me clearly. All right. I just want to know that we're still here. Okay. Before we bring the session to a close. Okay. So Isaac says yes. Comrade says, how do you build a portfolio such that it will reflect a long experience of 6 years? So how we go about that is, whichever career path that you have chosen, right? We want to believe that you have some transferable skills. Okay, we want to believe that you have some transferable skills. So what our employability professionals are able to do is to take a look at your previous experience, look for the transferable skills and emphasize on those skills on your CV. Right? That is one hand. On the second hand, you're able to, work on solid projects here at Analytics. Right? And then we're giving you skills that would also enable you to look for projects in your desired path, right? And then you're able to apply these skills to that path, right? Work on more projects and add them to your portfolio. Okay, so it really, it really depends on the job you want to apply for. So say that you want to go into data science and you want to apply that in the healthcare industry. Your portfolio doesn't have to contain random projects. It should have projects that are, focused on healthcare industry. Right. So it depends on that as well, the kind of industry you're looking to apply to, right? And then you gaining the experience to work on projects relating to that industry, and Analytics helping you see the transferable skills from your previous experience and emphasizing on that. I hope that answers your question, Olufemi. I hope that answers your question. Just let me know in the chat. Okay. So do we have any more questions before we call it a day? So I just got a notification, that 3 people have been able to take advantage of the discount. So what that means is we have 4 slots left. All right. 4 slots left. So you know what to do with that information. All right. You want to make wise decisions. You want to save more. Okay, so that being said, I don't see any more questions in the chat, right? So if you've had a good time so far, right from Joshua's presentation up until this one, please leave a yes in the chat. If you've enjoyed every bit of it, okay, please leave a yes in the chat. Okay, Tillman says is late. So what I'll do for you is my colleague will share the link to the, attendance form again, so you can fill it up. You can get the recording. This session was recorded. There's also the slide. So just fill the attendance form. Okay. And when the recording is available, you get access to it and you can go over and most likely register for the training. So Christina said she's had a good time so far. You're welcome. So anybody else, have we had a good time so far? Before we bring the session to a close. I hope we've had a good time so far. Just leave that in the chat, okay? Leave that in the chat if you've had a good time so far. So Tillman, my colleague, has left the link to the form there in the chat, okay? So that being said, we'll bring the session to a close now. And I do hope that, you're able to get the link and take advantage of the discounts while you still can. All right. So I'll take it that nobody else has a question for me. And I'm happy that we've had a good time so far. Okay. So I hope to see you in class come March, the 7th of March, or even in our April class. Okay. Can we communicate with you regarding the training to explain? Absolutely, you can. Right. So my colleague is going to leave an email right? And an email address here in the chat so that you can just copy that and go through, right? They'll leave an email address. And are you in any of our communities, Olufemi? Just let me know if you're, yes. So you can also send a message to any of the admins, right? And if you want to speak with me specifically, just ask to speak to Priscilla and, would pick it up from there. But my colleague will leave an email. My colleague Damilola would leave an email that you can reach out to. And then you can also reach out, through one of the admins in the community that you currently, belong to. All right. So I'll just also leave the email here for you to have access to. So I just put the email here in the chat. You can also send me a direct email. So I'm going to also leave my email address here, right? So you can send me a direct email as well, okay, so that we're able to take a look at the peculiar challenge and have it solved. Okay, so any more questions before we bring the session to a close? I'm just going to wait 30 seconds, right? And then we'll bring the session to a close, right? So you have like 3 email addresses now, Olufemi. I hope to get a message from you. All right. So that being said, we'll bring the session to a close. All right. Thank you so much for sharing with me, for spending the last 2 hours with Analytics. I hope you've had a good time so far. So I hope to see you in class come March or even April. And you want to ensure that you are taking advantage of the discount. All right. So this is where we bring the session to a close. Do have a good day, right? Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you and bye for now.